free transportation for all, free healthcare, 50% of rent control. Zoran Mamdani is Barack Obama 2.0. He's a snake oil that will tell you anything just so he can get your vote. Mamdani knows he cannot achieve any of those things he's promising you, but he doesn't care because he doesn't have any intention to achieve those things. He just wants your vote.
My administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare.
I think he's probably right that if he becomes mayor, it would be President Trump's worst nightmare. He loves New York City.
It would be everyone's worst nightmare. If Mamdani becomes the mayor of New York City, it will be the end for this great city.
And probably wouldn't be too happy about his policies, right?
Well, most people in this city, I think, would find it to be quite a nightmare, Martha. Actually, you look at the fact that he does talk about defunding the police. People in the city want to feel like they can go out, walk around, go in the subways, feel safe out there. He's talked about globalizing the Intifada. Obviously, here in New York, I think we have the biggest Jewish population of any city in the country. Those things are scary. And then just his general policies would take New York in the wrong direction. So, yeah, of course, Donald Trump does not want to see Mamdani as the next mayor, but he's denied having any point at which he would weigh in on this mayor's race here in New York. But I think it's fair to say he probably does not want Mamdani.
And that's one thing I disagree with President Trump. The Democrats, they play nasty. They play dirty. President Trump needs to step in and use all his cards in order to stop Mamdani. President Trump cannot say, no, I don't want to get involved. No, Mr. President, you need to get involved because we need to stop Mamdani. The first thing the president can do is talk to Curtis Lewa. Tell Curtis Lewa, listen, we know you're the Republican candidate for mayor of New York City. Chances are, unfortunately, you can't make it. New York is not smart enough yet to elect a Republican mayor. So we're going to need you to endorse Eric Adams. That's the number one thing. And then number two, the president needs to speak to the loser named Andrew Cuomo. The president needs to tell the loser, bro, you lost. Get out of the race.
So there was this piece in the New York Times that broke late yesterday that said that the president had some discussions with Cuomo. It said that Mark Penn was showing President Trump some polling from New York. And there's this huge question because you've got Curtis Lewa, you've got Mamdani, you've got Cuomo, the former governor, and you've got Eric Adams, the current mayor, that if it stays that way, Mamdani is likely to win, just given that breakdown. So at some point, do you think that President Trump will want to endorse someone or to get involved to prevent Mamdani from winning?
He has to. And unfortunately, Eric Adams right now is the only guy that can stop Mamdani. And you're in deep doo-doo when Eric Adams is the only person that can save you. That's when you know you are in a bad situation.
Well, I think if he felt like there was a path that was, available to see that happen, then he might. But look, whoever the mayor is will need to work with the president of the United States. You've seen Eric Adams even do that, making sure that ICE has access here to get criminals out of New York City, these illegal migrants. You've seen that we do, again, want crime to go down in New York City. You can use the president to help you on that front, and to say that he doesn't want anything to do with President Trump or his policies, I think is rather erroneous. It's a bad idea. So look, it'll be up to President Trump what he ultimately does, but I hope New Yorkers take this very seriously. Look, I think Mamdani is bringing up President Trump's name because he wants to drum up support from his base. When they have President Trump as, the antithesis of who they are, they come out, they get crazy, and he wants to get them out to support him because it is a tight race for all of them.
When you listen to Mamdani speak, anyone with half a brain can tell this guy is full of it. This guy is full of it, and that's why he reminds me of President Obama. Someone that will tell you anything you want to hear just so they can get you to vote for them. Barack Obama. He's not going to do nothing for you, but he's going to use his charisma. He's going to put his collared shirt, walk with a big smile. That's how they fool you. And Mamdani is even worse. Mamdani is even worse than Obama. Mamdani, he will tell you anything. He says he's a Muslim guy, right? No problem with that. But he's also supporting LGBTQ. He's in the parade waving LGBTQ flag. If you're gonna run as a Muslim, if you're gonna use the religion of Islam, you cannot be supporting LGBT. I'm sorry. And he also he wants to legalize sex worker. I'm sorry, those are not in the Quran. Now, if you want to support those things, cool. But at least don't use the religion to try to get some vote. It's like, bro, yo, Mamdani, guys.
I don't recall the last time I spoke with him. I would not seek his endorsement. I wouldn't accept his endorsement. President Trump has got a lot going on.
President Trump would never endorse you, loser. What are you talking about? You would not seek, no, accept his endorsement. President Trump would never endorse you, loser.
Why he's going to get involved in a complicated New York City mayor's race, I have no idea.
It's not complicated. You making it complicated, loser. You lost in the primary badly. You lost against somebody nobody knew about, Mamdani. You lost against this guy with all the millions of dollars you had. You still lost. So it's not complicated.
All right. He's running as an independent. He says he will not seek or will not accept any endorsement from President Trump, despite the fact that it sounds like there are some forces telling President Trump that he might be the person who would have a shot at winning. What do you think about that? And would President Trump hurt these candidates if he gets in, given that this is New York?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's one of the few places, if you took New York City out of things, Donald Trump would have won the state of New York in the 2024 election, right? So obviously here, he probably isn't as popular as the rest of the state. But look, I think that whenever you have someone as powerful as the president of the United States behind you, I think it can only be a benefit. And you see President Trump generally...
Unless if it's President Biden.
Whenever he weighs in, whenever he gets involved in races, there's certainly a lot more attention on them, Martha. I can tell you Curtis Sliwa would love to have his endorsement. Eric Adams would love to have his endorsement. And I would actually say, I don't know if I believe Andrew Cuomo there. He might want President Trump's endorsement, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating because you've got this very unusual situation where you have this socialist candidate and it just lines everyone up in different categories from, you've got two people running as independents, one person running as a Republican. I think that if, President Trump came in and said, we just want to stop this socialist from running New York City, it could get very, very interesting. And I think we're going to learn a lot more in September.
If you look at the Democratic Party, they've been running as a socialist party for a long time. They want to give free healthcare for all. They want to punish the people that make a lot of money. And they want to reward the people that don't want to work. They want to give illegal migrants free healthcare. They want to give illegal migrants free housing, free food. And if you're a business owner, you make a lot of money, or they want to increase your tax. What?
My administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare.
Zoran Mamdani isn't a nightmare for President Trump. He's a nightmare for workers. The Socialist claims Andrew Cuomo's reported phone call with Trump is disqualifying, and New Yorkers would never elect someone who works with this White House. But the former governor says Trump may want Mamdani to win.
I could see him saying, I want the assemblyman to win.
Is he taking his meds? Is Andrew Cuomo taking his meds? The more he speaks, the less sense he makes.
Because politically, I can make a lot of points with him politically as evidence that the Democratic Party has lost its mind. And I can then exert more control over New York City.
Jackie, this is something we've talked a lot about. Is it better to just push New York City over the edge, let them have their socialist mayor, or should we fight? What do you say?
If it's a game of chicken, I'm not going to try to predict what Donald Trump will do because, I mean, he just will shock you every single time. But I don't necessarily agree with that assessment there. Trump, when he was running, knew how bad it was here in New York City. And he promised New Yorkers that as a city that he loved and spent so much time in and invested in so heavily, that he would fix things for us. And things have gotten better in the last 6 months. We're not perfect, but they've definitely gotten better. So I think he would pick the lesser of all the evils. I think he realizes how dangerous Mamdani is. I think he realizes, Trump, that symbolically, even if Mamdani can't affect change because the council won't necessarily let him pass some of the provisions because there'll be issues with Albany and funding, larger statewide issues with Governor Kathy Hochul, too. That symbolically, this sets a bad precedent. This is one of the financial capitals of the world. It's a place that people have always aspired to come live, invest in, work in.
Let me give you an example, guys. One of the things Mamdani is running on, he says he wants to put rent control on, I think he says, 50% of the apartment in New York City. Now, if you are a renter, you would think, oh, well, if you're a renter that is not aware of the real world, you would think, oh my God, this is a great thing with rent control on most of the apartments in New York City. But here's the caveat, guys. When you have rent control in a building, automatically this owner cannot increase the rate. I think they can increase it 2 to 3%, right? Now imagine, let's say inflation is at 7%. So now the owner of the building cannot even increase the rent annually to at least simply match the inflation rate. Now you know what that means? The owner is losing money, right? So now when this owner is losing money because there's regulations on these buildings, he cannot increase the rent. The value of this building is going down. The owner is not gonna do renovation as often he would have done if he was actually able to increase the rent. Now, when the value of X building goes down, guess what? The value of Y building next to X building is also going down, and so on and so on. And now, when the value of all these buildings are going down, other owners are looking, other potential investors are looking at it. They're like, wait a minute, why would I come invest in New York City when I cannot even increase the rent to keep up with inflation? Why would I come in this city, invest my money with all these regulations? Let me go to Miami. Let me go to Texas. Let me go to Dubai. So now you're pushing investors away, which also means you are pushing work.
And it literally will be turned into a sewer again. So no, I don't think he wants to see that happen because it becomes a great political football for him.
It is the financial capital of this country, right? New York City occupies this unusual position in this country as a leader in capitalism, and all of that would seem to be threatened by this.
Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And of course, leave a comment, let me know what you think as I continue to bring more and better content. I'm still sick, but I'm feeling a little better today, so that's why I'm like, you know what? Let me tell New Yorkers, man. Let me tell New Yorkers to wake up and reject and rebuke that socialist Mamdani. And also, I hope President Trump plays all his cards to get Mamdani out of the mayor race. Because this man, if Mamdani becomes the mayor of New York City, God help New York City. Anyway, guys, I see you in the next video.